Syria is home to some of the oldest civilizations in the world, but it has also been the site of countless battles throughout history. Many have fought to control this region, but why is there so much interest in it? The reason that Syria is a true geopolitical pivot, meaning that because of its geographical location, it has great international importance, as controlling Syria could shift power dynamics on a global scale. A similar case you might recognize is Ukraine, also considered a geopolitical pivot because of the gas pipelines that run through it, its access to the Black Sea, and its vital natural resources. Additionally, it sits between the European Union and Russia. Well, Syria also shares some of these characteristics, making it a crucial area for many reasons. Geographically, Syria is located at the crossroads of Africa, Asia, and Europe, putting it at the center of regional affairs, as it shares borders with Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, and Turkey. To better understand its importance, we can look at how these neighboring countries have been involved in Syria's conflict, either directly or indirectly. Even though over a decade of war and destruction of its trade networks has reduced Syria's influence in the region, the country remains a key piece in both economic and military terms for many nations. Regarding its economic importance, for countries like Iran and Iraq, Syria is extremely strategic. Iran, for instance, could use Syria to export its oil through the Mediterranean, as in the past. A pipeline connected Iran and Syria via Iraq. However, that pipeline has been out of service since the U.S. invasion of Iraq. Reopening it would give Iran an alternative route to export its oil, bypassing the Persian Gulf, which is prone to tensions. Unfortunately, negotiations to revive this pipeline have ended with the fall of Bashar al-Assad, so this option doesn't seem likely to progress anytime soon. Turkey, on the other hand, stands out as one of the regional powers that could benefit most of the regime change in Syria. Syria's location allows it to connect with Europe via road and rail, making it a key trade hub. Currently, Syria exports goods like high-quality olive oil worth over $100 million annually to Turkey, despite the political tensions between Erdogan and Assad. In the future, this trade route could grow even more if a new Syrian government aligns with Ankara's interests. Syria could become an energy corridor connecting the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean. While Iran and Iraq could use this route, countries like Jordan and the Gulf states such as Qatar and Saudi Arabia are also very interested. In the past, Syria rejected a Qatari pipeline in favor of deals with the Axis of Resistance, but with Assad no longer in power, such projects could be reconsidered. Saudi Arabia is another example. It sees a potential land corridor through Jordan and Syria as a way to ease its reliance on the risky Strait of Hormuz, where Iran plays a dominant role. Meanwhile, Lebanon, which heavily depends on Syria for land access to Iran, could face significant difficulties if relations with a new Syrian government turn south. But Syria's significance goes beyond trade. For example, it has been a key ally for powers like Russia and Iran, helping them achieve their geopolitical goals. For Russia, Syria has been essentially for maintaining its influence in the Middle East and countering U.S. power. Russia operates a naval base in Tartus, its only one in the Mediterranean, which has allowed it to maintain a continuous military presence in the region. Combined with a nearby airbase, Russia has been able to launch air campaigns, deploy troops, resupply ships, and reduce its dependence on routes controlled by Turkey. If Russia loses a base in Tartus, its Mediterranean operations will depend on its Black Sea bases. However, these bases could only access the Mediterranean through the Dardanelles Strait, controlled by Turkey, which is far less favorable. Losing Syria also cuts Russia off from extracting resources there, which, while not abundant, include oil and natural gas reserves that the U.S. has previously focused on. On the other hand, Iran has used Syria as part of its Shia Crescent, a land corridor linking Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Iran, which enabled the movement of troops, weapons, and supplies, strengthening the Axis of Resistance, a coalition opposing Western powers, Israel and Sunni, states like Saudi Arabia. However, with Assad out of power, this alliance is weakened, reducing Iran's influence in the region. Syria's sectarian makeup is another reason for its importance. Whether it's dominated by Sunni or Shia, forces can significantly shift the power of balance in the Middle East. This is why countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iran, and Turkey have spent years funding and arming different factions in the Syrian civil war. This long conflict has created widespread humanitarian and security problems that extended beyond the region. In fact, Syria's war has displaced over 6 million Syrians, making it one of the largest refugee crises in recent history. These refugees have fled to neighboring countries like Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan, and many have sought asylum in Europe, straining resources and creating political tensions in host nations. With Assad's fall, many of these refugees might consider returning, but rebuilding the country will take years. Lastly, all those years of war have turned Syria into a breeding ground for extremist groups. This persistent threat has kept Syria in the global spotlight and drawn continued military involvement from countries like the United States. With all that being said, we now reach the end of the video with a summary of Syria's main geopolitical points. 1. It's a crucial trade hub for its neighbors. 2. It provides strategic access to the Mediterranean, which Russia has used extensively. 3. It has reserves of oil and natural gas. 4. Under Assad, it was part of Iran's axis of resistance, which is now very weakened. 5. Its sectarian dynamics influence the balance of power in the Middle East. And lastly, the war has caused significant migration and security challenges. And now that you know all this, what do you think? Are there other reasons Syria is so important? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and join us for more geopolitical insights. See you next time.